Welcome to our channel, where stories come alive with emotion, reflection, and a touch of destiny. Today's story will take you inside the golden walls of power, pride, and an unexpected twist that changed a billionaire's life forever. This is the story of a man who had everything: wealth, fame, and control, but found true wisdom from the most unlikely person. The janitor he once ignored. It was a cold Monday morning in the heart of New York City. The glass tower of Atlas Enterprises gleamed in the rising sun, a monument of ambition and money. Inside, thousands of employees rushed through the marble halls, afraid to be late. And then he arrived, Alexander Kane, the billionaire CEO. His black limousine stopped at the entrance, his shoes clicking sharply on the marble floor as he walked in. His face was cold, his mind focused only on numbers and control, but beneath that polished surface, things were falling apart. His company was losing millions. Investors were backing away. His reputation was cracking. And Alexander, the man everyone feared, was silently drowning in stress. As he strode into the lobby, he nearly slipped. The floor had just been mopped. The old janitor nearby looked up quickly. "I'm so sorry, sir." The janitor stammered, clutching his mop. His name was Samuel Brooks, a quiet man with kind eyes and a weary smile. Alexander glared at him. "Do you even look at what you're doing? You could have cost me a broken leg." Samuel bowed his head. "I truly apologize, sir. I'll be more careful. Just stay out of the way," Alexander muttered and walked off, frustration burning in his chest. To him, Samuel was invisible, just another worker blending into the background. But fate had other plans. That evening, after hours of meetings and calls, Alexander sat alone in his office. The skyline glittered beyond the glass, but inside, everything felt dark. Reports were scattered across his desk, graphs showing losses, charts dipped in red. His company, his life's work, was slipping from his hands. He loosened his tie, sighed, and stared at the city below. "Why is everything going wrong?" he whispered. That's when the door opened quietly. The janitor stepped in, pushing his cleaning cart. "Oh, sorry, sir. I thought everyone had gone home," Samuel said softly. Alexander didn't even look up. "Just clean. Don't worry about me." Samuel began dusting the shelves silently. But as he worked, he noticed the tension on Alexander's face, the deep lines of exhaustion. He hesitated, then said, "You look like a man carrying too much weight." Alexander glanced up, annoyed. "Excuse me? I mean no disrespect, sir. I just know that look. I've seen it in men who work too hard and forget why they started." Alexander frowned. "You think you know my life?" Samuel smiled gently. "No, sir. I just know people." Something in the janitor's calm voice caught Alexander off guard. Maybe it was the honesty, or the fact that no one dared to talk to him like that anymore. He leaned back. "You seem to have a lot of opinions for a janitor," Samuel shrugged. "Years of listening teaches you more than talking ever could." Alexander gave a humorless laugh. "Fine. Tell me, since you seem so wise, how would you save a billion-dollar company that's collapsing?" Samuel stopped sweeping. "I'd start by cleaning from the inside," Alexander blinked. "What's that supposed to mean?" Samuel looked around the office. "Sir, you can polish the floor every day, but if the foundation underneath is cracked, it'll always fall apart. The same goes for people and companies." Alexander stared at him, speechless. The janitor continued, "You've built something powerful, but power without trust is just fear. And fear doesn't grow, it destroys." The words hit him like thunder. For a moment, the arrogant CEO couldn't speak. The next morning, Alexander couldn't get the janitor's words out of his head. He walked into his office, looked around, and for the first time realized how distant everything felt. Sterile, cold, lifeless. During the staff meeting, he surprised everyone. He didn't shout. He didn't blame. He simply asked, "What do you think we're doing wrong?" The room fell silent. No one had ever heard him ask that question before. One by one, his employees began to speak, cautiously at first, then openly. They talked about fear, pressure, and lack of communication. Alexander listened, really listened, and he saw the cracks Samuel had spoken of. That day, something changed. Weeks passed, and the company began to heal. Alexander started walking the floors, speaking with employees, learning their names. He invested not just in projects, but in people. Slowly, the numbers began to rise again. But one morning, when he went looking for Samuel, the old janitor was gone. The manager said he had retired suddenly. Alexander felt an odd emptiness. He had never thanked him. So he asked around and found Samuel's small address at the edge of the city. When he arrived, the old man was sitting on his porch, tending to a few plants. "Mr. Kane," Samuel greeted with a surprised smile. "Didn't expect to see you here." Alexander sat down beside him. "You changed my life," he said quietly. "I didn't believe it then, but your words, they saved my company." Samuel chuckled softly. "I didn't save anything, sir." "You just learned to see people again." Alexander nodded, emotion filling his eyes. "I wanted to repay you somehow." "Anything you want, name it." Samuel shook his head. "No need, just promise me something." "What's that?" Alexander asked. "When you reach the top again, don't forget the ones cleaning the floor beneath you." Alexander smiled, a real, genuine smile, for the first time in years. "I promise." Months later, Atlas Enterprises became stronger than ever, but something had changed. Alexander wasn't the same ruthless CEO anymore. He had created scholarships for low-income workers, built a fund to help janitors and maintenance staff across the city, and personally visited the people who once went unnoticed. And on the marble lobby floor, a small plaque appeared one day, engraved with simple words: "Wisdom doesn't always wear a suit. Every empire has its foundation. Some are built on money, some on fear. But the strongest ones are built on humility, because sometimes the man holding the mop can see more clearly than the one holding the crown." Moral of the story: never underestimate anyone. Wisdom often hides in silence, and true strength begins when pride ends.